How can you keep your stress down while keeping your well-being up? Consistent self-care. Hi, my name is JD, and I'm a statistician and music therapist here to offer statistically significant support. And today we're going to talk about self-care, what it is, how to do it, and why it's important. Self-care is doing anything that improves your health and well-being. These are things that make you feel physically and emotionally better after you do them. So, self-care can literally be anything that helps you feel physically and emotionally better, especially after you do it. So, let's talk about psychologists and therapists as an example, because when they do self-care, it lowers their stress, but it also improves their personal and professional lives, like lowered burnout or higher job satisfaction. Self-care is so critical to this field that it's an ethical obligation for the American Counseling Association, the American Psychological Association, American School Counseling Association, and the National Association for Social Workers. But before we move forward, let's talk about examples of self-care so we can understand it a little bit better. One example is just to stay current in your professional knowledge and connect with your professional organization. If you do this, you can prevent depersonalizing your clients. Another example of self-care is just having a life outside of work. By doing this, you lower your emotional exhaustion, you increase your sense of personal accomplishment, you lower your stress, and you have a higher life satisfaction. Having a life outside of work is crucially linked to having a higher compassion satisfaction. So being more satisfied with how you're showing compassion to your patients. Another example, and this is crucial, is taking care of your mental health. By taking care of your mental health, you help build professional support and encouragement. But by monitoring and controlling your emotions, this protects your own sense of personal accomplishment. Another way is just not taking on too much. For therapists who take on too many clinical hours, they often see lower levels of compassion satisfaction. But at your job, you can also talk to your coworkers. But be careful with this. Sometimes it helps and sometimes it hurts. So you really want to make sure that you trust that person. But other examples include just having a spiritual practice and also exercising so that you're maintaining your physical health. For therapists, it's so important to maintain self-care because we have to balance personal stress with the client's stress. And if we see a lot of patients with post-traumatic stress disorder, then we're more likely to have what's called secondhand post-traumatic stress, and that's connected to feeling burnt out. And when we feel stress, we often feel it in our bodies, our mood, sleep, focus, and concentration. For work-related stress, we have depression and anxiety, workaholism, consistent clinical errors, and even suicidal thoughts. The good news is self-care protects. By doing self-care, you're protecting yourself from the harm of stress. So self-care is leading to less emotional exhaustion, less depersonalization of clients, greater sense of personal accomplishments, and greater life satisfaction. And because self-care is doing anything that improves your well-being and health, anything that helps you feel physically and emotionally better, we need to look at techniques that cross a wide variety of wellness and to make sure we talk about doing them daily and consistently. So basically, you need different types of self-care to address different types of well-being. And this is according to play therapists. So we have different types of wellness. We have physical, spiritual, emotional, cognitive, interpersonal, and professional. So for physical, this is anything that maintains your health, your physical health. So this is sleeping properly, having a proper diet and nutrition, exercising, going to see a doctor, maintaining your energy. For spiritual wellness, this is anything that connects you to a higher power. So this is any kind of faith-based activity, but it could also be meditation, connecting with the greater universe, and that includes connecting with nature or astronomy. And I have a video on how to connect with people that talks about connecting with nature as well. So if you struggle with this and you want to do it more, I encourage you to go check out that video. For emotional well-being, this is maintaining some kind of overall emotional stability. So you want to address the undesirable emotions and bring those down, but also notice your desirable emotions and maintain those for as long as possible. So you want to acknowledge that you might be feeling depressed and anxious, get at the core root of that, and bring that down so it's almost absent, but increase your feelings of calm and happiness and maintain those for as long as possible. For cognitive wellness, this is anything that addresses your thought and your thought patterns that are related to wellness. So you want positive affirmations and statements that increase your wellness, not negative self-talk. You want phrases like, I am strong and I am competent, instead of phrases like, I'm worthless and I'm not good enough. For interpersonal wellness, you want to do things that maintain your meaningful relationships. This could be with a significant other, this could be with friendships, as long as you're around people that help you feel emotionally and physically better afterwards, you're doing self-care. And it doesn't matter what you do with them. But you don't want this to be with work-related people, because with work-related people, that's part of professional wellness. You still want to maintain some sort of relationship with work-related people, and especially engaging supervision with your boss. But on top of just doing your work well, you want to engage in self-care through establishing boundaries. And that's easier said than done. So if you're experiencing some kind of workaholism or if you're overworked, I have a video addressing those so that you can check that out and find out ways to maintain work-related boundaries. It's also important for us to note that we don't get sick from feeling burnt out, or we don't get sick from feeling stressed. We get sick because of the mismanagement of the stress. And in fact, getting sick often comes after we deal with the stress and when we're feeling calm. But the longer we deal with the stress, the worse we get, the sicker we get afterwards. And if stress is left unchecked, then it becomes distress, that becomes impairment, and then we have improper behavior. Good news is that the daily and consistent self-care practices that we're talking about can help limit that stress, and especially in times of greater stress. So the key thing to remember is that you cannot function properly if you do not take care of yourself. By taking care of yourself and in different ways and as consistently as you can be the best you that you can be. And if you take care of other people, like as a therapist, you can better take care of them by taking care of yourself. I personally struggle with this. By pushing myself to finish something, I often wear myself out so that I'm physically, mentally, and emotionally exhausted. So I can't focus, and that makes it take longer than it should to finish. So I end up eating into my own personal time, but I often don't sleep well when I do that either. So the cycle repeats itself the next day, and I end up in this negative feedback loop of getting things done, but it hurting me and taking away my wellness. So if you found this video helpful and you want more information about self-care, you can click on the APA articles listed and linked in the description below. But if you found this video helpful, you can also hit the like button. And if you want more content like this, please hit the subscribe button so that I can continue to bring you more statistically significant support. Thank you.